Okay, so I'm going to be talking about Reacher Season 2. There could be spoilers in this, so if you haven't seen the season yet, go and check it out and then come back and listen to my review of it, because there are going to be a few spoilers in there scattered around as we go along. So, when I first saw the pictures of Alan Richardson, who was going to be Reacher in Season 1, I thought, yeah, this is the guy that I imagined he would be when I was reading the novels. He's huge, he's tall, the way he acts, the way he plays the part is absolutely on point for me. And no disrespect to Tom Cruise, I think he had the character quite well, but he wasn't the right size. He was too short. He wasn't muscular enough. So that was just a bit of a problem for Tom Cruise. But I think that Richardson is definitely, for me, a better looking, not as in better looking, but better looking physically, Jack Reacher. And the first season I thought was really good. Obviously, they did it on the first book, and I thought it was really well done. It was great. The pacing, the fight scenes were good. Uh, Everyone involved, all the characters were really good. The actors that played the parts really played them well. And so I was really looking forward to season two. Took a while to get done and to come out, but I have now watched season two, and this is a bit of a departure from season one because they're using a book later on in the series where he meets the team from the 110th, where he was basically part of the military police. So he meets up with his gang basically because some of his team are being killed off, and he wants to find out why. Because one of his former teammates gets in touch with him, which is very hard, and says, "Look, this is happening. Some of our former team members are being killed off. We need to find out what's going on." So the whole series then is them investigating what happens what happened to their teammates, and they get involved in lots of different scuffles, and they get involved with the local police force and things like that. And it's a very good series. I thought I wasn't entirely sure. When you think about um, second series, sometimes they don't live up to the expectations of the first series. But I actually thought these were really good. I thought that the way they had the extra characters come in. I know there are a lot of people who like the Reacher solo, who does everything on his own. Just walks into a town and finds trouble. But I actually felt this was a good second series because it's a good way to introduce him to other characters, explores his personality, explores his background a bit more, and gives him a bit more of a rounded character arc, which I thought was really good. Now, there is news about the third series, which I'm going to make in a second video later on. So if you want to find out about season 3, subscribe and click that bell for notifications so that you'll get told when I talk about season 3, because there's some interesting things going on there, let me tell you. So I really enjoyed the cast. I thought the cast really worked well together. There was a good kind of chemistry between them, and I thought it was really well done. And we had Saranda Swan. She played Kira, and she was Carla, and she was kind of the love interest in some ways, because they had been flirting with each other, or kind of flirting as well as Jack Reacher can flirt. And they were doing that while they were in the 110th, but obviously Reacher didn't want to do anything because it was unprofessional. But now they've met up again, and they get into a bit of a love interest together, and it was great the way they did it. It was great the way they ended it. I felt it wasn't ended the same way they ended it in the books, which at the time I thought, when I heard that, I was a little bit concerned, because sometimes when they alter the books for TV, they don't do a good job of it. I actually felt this was okay. So, rather than have Carla saying, I want you to come with me and meet people and stuff like that, and he turned her down, it kind of ended in a mutual way. It's like, they both knew this was just unfinished business, and they just parted like that. And I thought that was a much better ending, actually. So kudos to them for that. And you had really good, strong characters in this. You had Maria Sten as Francis. You had Mark Ben David as Paul. And I felt that they were all really good in the way that they acted together, the way they moved around, the way they acted as a team, from the 110th, the way they kind of went into scenarios. I thought it was all really well done. So for me, it was a great series, and I really enjoyed it. It was 8 episodes, I think, was the decent size. There was a little bit of padding here and there. Sometimes it was a little bit slow, but it didn't happen long enough for it to become bothersome. Sometimes you'd be thinking, nothing's happened for a little while, and then something would happen. So just as you kind of started to get a little bit bogged down by everything, they'd throw an action scene in and make it a lot better. So, you know, it was paced okay. I think it wasn't too bad at all. And I think that Robert Patrick was in it. He played the bad guy, and I thought he was really good as well. It was great to see him in something like this. Great to see him acting with, alongside, you know, Alan Richardson and the others. You know, that he was really good in there, and I think he played the part really well. So overall, I was really impressed with the second series. I thought it was actually very well done, and there was always those things where you think someone's going to die, and it actually ended up being the police officer who ended up dying. And it was a great way that he died. He wasn't originally in the books, but they had kind of added him, and I think it was great to see that, you know, because there was a bit of a butting of heads between him and Reacher at some points, but then in the end you realise actually he was a really good guy. And so I loved that story arc of his. I thought that was a great story arc to put him on and to take him through. I thought that was really well done. So after all of that, you got a second series which I think is really, really good. And there's things in there that you can learn, or at least Hollywood can learn, because Amazon have made mistakes. You know, they've made some bad series, they've made some bad choices, and this was one that they actually got right. And the reason they did is because you got strong female characters in this TV show, but they're just played as they are, strong female characters. You know, they're not trying to be anything they're not. They're not trying to overstate anything. They're not trying to be better than anyone else. They're just strong female characters, and they pulled it off incredibly well. You know, their fighting was very believable and realistic. Small bit at the end where Reacher jumps and hangs onto a helicopter wheel as it's taking off. That was a little bit, you know, a little bit far-fetched, and the CGI was a little bit dodgy. But you can forgive that because the series as a whole was really good. So I felt that actually, you know, the characters were really good. You've got strong female characters in here, and this is what I've been talking about before. You know, rather than have traditional male characters changed into female characters, why don't they just create or take strong female characters from books and use them instead? This is what works for me. And you know, I wouldn't even mind if they spun off one or two of these. You know, if they spun off one or two of these female characters that were in the second series, if they spun them off into their own series, I think that would be a good idea. I wouldn't necessarily think that was a bad idea. So, you know, there are ways that you can do it that work incredibly well, and I think that this is one of those occasions when it did. And that's my review of season 2. Let me know what you think down in the comment section. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. It's important that we get some chat going in the comment section. So let me know what you think about the series and what you're hoping for in season 3. And like I said, I'm going to be doing a video of season 3 later on, so get to watch out for that as well. And I will see you next time.